Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a serious accident right now on Route 8 in Shelton. Later on, we also have a preview of our front pages this week. Frank Granito will have a look at your forecast and a Nutmeg Sports update later on, and Donald Lang will join us to take a look back on this day in history. But first, state police and other emergency responders are at the scene this morning of a serious crash on Route 8 in Shelton. Police reported around 10:30 a.m. that Route 8 North in Shelton between exit 11 and 12 is closed due to a crossover serious injury accident involving two cars. Now, our own John Kovac is near the scene and will be reporting back to us with more information. He says traffic is mostly at a standstill, which we can see outside the window of our studio right now, though some cars are driving on the median to try to get off the highway. Now, the initial accident was reported a few minutes after 10 o'clock, according to the Valley Indy, and scanner reports said one person was reportedly trapped in a vehicle. Again, we'll be bringing you updates as we get them. But in other news, a Bridgeport man is accused of being involved in an assault, and he's facing several charges, including assaulting an officer. 40-year-old Correll Bynes of Bridgeport was identified as a suspect in a possible assault in Stratford. Police said when Bynes was approached by an officer, he began to fight and a brief struggle ensued. Police said Bynes was taken into custody and found to be in possession of a handgun that was reportedly stolen in New Haven and marijuana with intent to sell. Police said the officer involved suffered some minor injuries, and Bynes faces several charges and was ordered held on a $200,000 bond. In other news, Darien Emergency Services assisted in a water rescue off of Stamford for the second time in a week on Wednesday night. On Wednesday night at about 8 p.m., the Stamford Police Department contacted the Darien Police Department requesting assistance from the Marine Division. Stamford Police had received a report of a capsized vessel with 4 people in the water off of Shippen Point in Stamford. Darien Police Marine Unit 127 responded and was first on the scene of that capsized vessel. 4 people were in the water approximately 100 yards off of Shippen Point. 2 were clinging to the vessel, while all 4 were safely taken aboard that Darien boat. It is believed the vessel in question struck a rock and capsized. Last weekend, the Norotan Fire Marine Unit responded to a capsized boat off of the Stamford coast. And you can get more on that story at DarienTimes.com. The Fairfield Citizen reports that an automatic fire alarm triggered by a burning saucepan on the stove of a Silver Spring Road house Sunday morning alerted local officials to a home filled with cats and a malnourished 86-year-old woman. The Hearst, Connecticut media paper reports that when firefighters got to the house, they said the resident opened the door and asked what they wanted as smoke billowed out over her head. Well, inside the home were cats and kittens, some dead, and a strong urine odor, as well as feces all over areas of the home. There was very little food in the refrigerator, and it was estimated that the 86-year-old woman weighed about 80 pounds. Animal control officers took 7 cats and 5 kittens from the house, but they think there are 20 to 30 more still there. They also removed 4 dead kittens. Now, the resident was brought to St. Vincent's Medical Center. Police spoke with the woman's sister-in-law, who is her power of attorney. The sister-in-law told police she had groceries delivered to the house every 2 weeks. And the Easton Volunteer Emergency Medical Service Commission is looking for a few more EMTs to participate in its live-in program now that one of 2 previous college student participants won't be coming back. The service began the live-in emergency medical technician program in December 2015 and deemed it a mutually beneficial success. Well, the arrest of its first live-in student on unrelated charges in Massachusetts in June hasn't changed that overall assessment. Now, the first live-in student, 20-year-old Christopher Barlow of Duxbury, Mass., and a student at Sacred Heart University, was arrested back on June 26 on charges of stockpiling illegal weapons and impersonating a police officer. He was arraigned June 27th in Plymouth District Court on the charges, and his case is pending. That investigation was carried out with help from Easton Police, the Connecticut State Police, as well as Homeland Security, the FBI, and the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Easton EMS says a second live-in student has helped improve service by being available to answer calls from midnight midnight to 7 a.m. every night and will be continuing with that program. EMS Sergeant Jonathan Arnold said it's difficult to comment on Barlow's situation as it's still an open investigation. He said the EMS will be looking at their screening process and see how they can improve it. All members, paid and volunteer, are subject to a criminal background check, motor vehicle background check, and a drug test, according to Arnold. You can get more on that story at eastoncourier.com. Well, a Darien man was charged with DUI after overturning his vehicle near the intersection of Raymond Street and Littlebrook Road on July 19th. Police responded to that intersection at about 11 at night to find a black Jeep lying on its roof in the roadway. The driver was identified as 43-year-old Matthew Troy, and he was standing next to the car. According to police, Troy repeatedly called a female officer sir while speaking to her, but managed to explain that he lost control of his vehicle as a dog had crossed the street. He then struck a mailbox and flipped over. Troy complained of bruises on his arms and wrists and was treated by Post 53 at the scene. Well, Darien officers noticed that Troy was having trouble standing, to which he said he was fine and just shaken up from the accident. He told police he was on his way home from the train station but had had 2 drinks before taking the train back to Darien. At this point, a male officer was speaking to Troy, but he repeatedly called him ma'am. Troy was asked to perform field sobriety tests, but was unable to complete them successfully. He was placed under arrest and declined a breath test. Mark Sherman, Troy's Stanford-based criminal lawyer, explained that the accident was likely a result of weather-related road conditions rather than any driver misconduct. And a chemical treatment of Lake Mamanasco in Ridgefield is planned for tomorrow, Friday, July 28th, according to Jeff Stahl of the Pond and Lake Connection. Most water uses and recreational activities are prohibited for 24 hours following that treatment, including swimming, drinking, fishing, irrigation, and livestock watering. Boating, however, is not restricted. Now, that treatment is expected to start around 10 in the morning Friday. The chemical planned for use is an algicide, Sea Clear, and the principal goal is to prevent a bloom of blue-green algae, which can be toxic. Well, taking a turn now, let's get a look at the forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. It's not quite as sunny as yesterday, but we should still see another great summer day around Fairfield County with comfortable conditions, low humidity, and temperatures right around the low 80s. An expected high of only 81 today. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds through this afternoon, and then some increasing cloud cover to follow later on this evening and overnight. There'll be passing showers overnight starting around the 10 o'clock hour, and conditions will start to get muggy with humidity on the rise heading into Friday morning. Not looking like one of the best days to end the work week, though, on Friday, with early periods of sun making way for mostly cloudy skies and muggy conditions. Temperatures are up into the mid-80s during the day, and it's going to be very humid out, which is going to bring scattered showers and thunderstorms later on in the afternoon through Friday evening. Overcast Friday night, a low of 65, and there'll be on and off showers carrying into Saturday. Cooler out on Saturday, but still a couple of showers hanging around through the first half of the day. Mostly cloudy skies, and an expected high of only 75 to go along with on and off showers up to Saturday evening. Overcast conditions continue on through Saturday night, a low of 61, but the sun will be back Sunday to wrap up this week. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's send it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Engel will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has your Nutmeg Sports update, and there's more local news after this.
Now teeing off, Paul Miller from Miller Nissan in Fairfield.
Excuse me, Mr. Miller. What about my new Sentra?
Right now, lease a 2017 Sentra S for only $97 a month.
He is never going to retire.
At Pure Barre Ridgefield, our tried and true method can shape every body and fit any schedule. Pure Barre is a total body workout using the ballet bar to perform small isometric movements which burn fat, sculpt muscles, and create long, lean physiques. Sweat away the day and get lost in the music. Pure Barre Ridgefield, located at 86 Danbury Road. Like us on Facebook at Pure Barre Ridgefield.
School's out, the weather is hot, and the fish are biting. Whether you're heading to the beach or out on a boat, stop in at the dock shop before you go to fill your beach bag or tackle box with everything you'll need for fun in the sun. A new beach cover-up, some sunscreen, or just some bait, the dock shop has you covered from either location. 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. And yes, you heard that right. Bait is now available in Darien and Westport. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. DockShop.com.
If you're watching this broadcast, you're not alone. The HAN network is available for 200,000 Connecticut cable customers on the Frontier network, and we've also reached more than 2 million viewers on our free live streaming sports, news, and entertainment broadcasts. To reach our rapidly growing audience, contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network. If you've ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort, then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Bay Star and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866. If you've ever thought about...
Welcome back to this July 27th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. Time to take a look back on this day in history with Donald Eng. Don.
Well, a fairly elusive piece dates back to this day. First, though, we go all the way back to 1054 when Siward of Northumbria invades Scotland and defeats King Macbeth of Scotland. Now, Macbeth would die 3 years later, and his line died with him. So most of what we know about Macbeth's life was written by his mortal enemies. By the 14th century, he had transformed from somewhat inept ruler to evil tyrant possessed by witches, essentially what Shakespeare's source material was for the 17th century tragedy of his name. To 1866, the first transatlantic cable is successfully completed, stretching from Valentia Island, Ireland, to Heart's Content, Newfoundland. Love that name, by the way. There had been numerous failed attempts over the previous 14 years. As you might have guessed, laying a cable continually across an ocean floor that is in places 10,000 feet below the surface, quite the engineering challenge. The cable, though, did cut communication time from North America and Europe from 12 days to just a few minutes. 1940, the animated short Wild Hare is released, introducing the character of Bugs Bunny. Now, Bugs is known for his heavily Bronx, Brooklyn accented English, but did you know that he actually changed the meaning of an English word? Well, he did. The word is Nimrod, a biblical king described as being a great hunter. Bugs referred to Elmer Fudd as Little Nimrod, and kids watching didn't get the joke. So if you went to Catholic school and you had to read Genesis, now you know why Noah's great-grandson is somewhat interestingly named. Finally, now we go to 1953 for this.
We have stopped the shooting. That means much to the fighting men and their families. And it will allow some of the grievous wounds of Korea to heal. Therefore, I am thankful. The task now is to put the ceasefire agreement into full effect and get down to working out an enduring settlement of the Korean problem. I cannot find it in me to exult in this hour. Rather, it is a time for prayer, that we may succeed in our difficult endeavor to turn this armistice to the advantage of mankind.
It was on this day that the fighting in the Korean War ends, with the U.S., China, and North Korea signing an armistice. South Korea actually did not sign, though they did pledge to abide by it. The peace treaty that he spoke of, though, never happened. Ominously, North Korea has cited UN sanctions in saying that it no longer considers itself bound by the terms of the armistice. That is your look back in history for today, July 28th, and I'm Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, we're still following this serious accident in Shelton. Traffic is at a complete standstill on Route 8 northbound. We could actually see some of that out of our studio window. John Kovach is in that traffic right now trying to get to the scene. Now, state police reported around 10:30 that Route 8 north in Shelton between exit 11 and 12 is closed, and they said that's due to a crossover serious injury accident involving 2 cars. Now, the initial report of the accident came in just after 10. According to the Valley Indy, scanner report said 1 person was reportedly trapped in a car at that time. we will bring you the latest updates as we get them. But let's throw it back over to Frank Granito for Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And if you're listening, John, send me a text and I'll walk you a sandwich out there. I got a feeling he's going to be there
a while.
for quite some time. But yesterday afternoon, we were live at Trumbull High School for the regional finals of the 2017 Babe Ruth 14U tournament. And congratulations to the Trumbull team, who is moving on to Glen Allen, Virginia, and the World Series following their 4-2 victory over Hingham Hole out of Eastern Massachusetts. Sam West, the young man on the mound, stole the show for Trumbull. He pitched all 7 innings, allowing only 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 of them earned, with 1 walk and 1 strikeout. Again, the middle of the order for Trumbull getting it done. Brandon Buda had a big 2-run double, a sac fly with an RBI for Jackson Vicente, and another RBI coming from Jack Allen, who was phenomenal in the field again. Trumbull was up 4-0 in this one, and it looked like Hingham Hole might be ready to make another big comeback, scoring 2 runs in the 6th inning, and they loaded the bases in the top of the 7th. But unfortunately, Luke Linehan grounded back to Sam West, who threw it over to first to register the final out. Kevin Coleman and I will have complete highlights and a breakdown of this game coming up on Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock. We've also got some other local stories from around the county to catch you up on as well. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, in other local news, a new car dealership, the Cultivated Collector, recently opened at 19 Veedy Street in New Canaan to target car collector enthusiasts who seek to own classic and specialty automobiles. Focusing on investment-grade European sports and exotic cars from the 50s to modern models, the family business is led by company president Matthew Ivanhoe and vice president Ann Ivanhoe. At 4,400 square feet, the 2-story building consists of a first-floor retail space that displays 12 cars, and the second floor features a club-type environment intended for a future members club with exclusive activities. But there's a lot more on that business at ncadvertiser.com. Well, Monroe has its very own American Ninja Warrior living among its residents. Joe Moravsky, also known as Weather Warrior, recently moved to town and is competing in the American Ninja Warrior competition for his 5th year. Now, American Ninja Warrior is a television show where athletes compete against each other to see who can complete extreme obstacle courses with the fastest time. He said he became interested in American Ninja Warrior when he was 18 and watching the show. Well, when Moravsky isn't competing or training, you can find him working as a meteorologist for News 12 or spending time with his family. He lives in town with his wife and daughter, and soon a son is expected in the next few weeks. Moravsky said he plays the piano, trumpet, and records music or plays video games to unwind. To watch Moravsky compete, you can tune in Mondays at 8 p.m. on NBC, and you can get a lot more on him at MonroeCourier.com. And the Peter Parley Schoolhouse in Ridgefield will be having an open house this Sunday, July 30th from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. An antique fire truck will be on site along with an ice cream truck. The historic schoolhouse, also known as the West Lane Schoolhouse and sometimes the Little Red Schoolhouse, has a new bell and was recently repainted. The schoolhouse is set up as a small history museum with desks, chalkboards, and other artifacts of early American schooling. The schoolhouse was named after Samuel G. Goodrich, who lived from 1793 to 1860. Grew up in Ridgefield and wrote under the pen name Peter Parley. Goodrich attended the schoolhouse and went on to become an author of more than 170 books. His work is considered significant to the development of the school textbook. All right, well, we are going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we'll bring you the latest on this Route 8 accident, and Donald Eng joins me to preview our front pages this week after this.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now at the summer clearance event. Going on now through July 31st.
At InSports Trumbull, the game is always on inside. Registration is now open for our fitness training programs for high school athletes. The InSports Performance Center is offering blast speed classes, athletic functional movement assessments, and both men's and women's elite speed and strength training. Our premier programs help bring athletes to the next level. Call 203-268-1214 for more information Like and follow us on Facebook.
Want a new experience in car buying? Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with one of the largest inventories of new 2- and 4-door Wranglers. We are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Come visit our new Ram Truck Center. Browse our websites, scapchryslerjeep.com or scapdodge.net to find the new Jeep, Chrysler Dodge car, minivan, or Ram truck you've been looking for. Just 2 miles from both I-95 or the Merritt Parkway exit 44. Save thousands right now at the Summer Clearance Event, going on now through July 31st.
Celebrate summer with fresh made-to-order picnic boxes from Walter Stewart's Market. We have delicious summery selections from buttermilk fried chicken to grilled lemon chicken kebab, grilled shrimp Caesar salad wraps, or lobster salad rolls. Our easy-to-carry picnic boxes come with your choice of a meal, as well as a dessert, beverage, and utensils. Order online for simple pickup options. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and online at stewartsmarket.com. A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month, here on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and before we get into front pages with Donald Eng, just an update on this accident on Route 8 in Shelton. State police did share a photo from the scene of the crash, saying that there was serious injury involved in this accident. The fire department extricated one car occupant from a vehicle, and that person was transported to the hospital. Now, the initial call of this accident came in just after 10 a.m. Now, John Kovach is trying to get to the scene right now, and traffic is at a standstill on Route 8 in that area. This accident is between 11 and 12, causing some major backup, so just be aware of that. And we'll keep you posted on Twitter when we can. But now let's preview the front pages this week. Our papers are out and on newsstands. Donald Eng joining me since John Kovach is out in the field right now. So, Don, what are you looking at first?
Well, first off, I have the Milford Mirror and a very sad story. A man has drowned at Silver Sands State Park in Milford. You know, it's the sandbar out there. People, it's an attractive place to walk out to, but then the tide comes in faster than people think. Also, a housing law in Milford, the affordable housing law, amended due in large part to folks in Milford. And we have a fun story at the bottom of page 1 there. Donna Marie Schultz, a bodybuilder in her 50s, still competing there in the fitness and bodybuilding competition. So very, very, very inspirational story there.
Yeah, good for her. All right, well, I am taking a look at the Wilton Bulletin. And of course, as we're going to see in many of our papers, candidates named from the two major parties as we get ready for this municipal election season. We also have a camp embracing all aspects of Ambler Farm and some students there enjoying playing with the pig, feeding the pig, of course. Developers in Wilton seeking a revisit of age-restricted zoning, and just some more great news, more about animals teaching some local campers. So very cool there.
I have the Easton Courier here, and at the top of the front page, you see the selectmen have rejected a move to overturn a budget vote. You know, Easton's one of those town meeting towns still that adopts a budget that way. Also, as you mentioned earlier, the Easton Republicans have endorsed their slate of candidate. That also going on. A lot of towns doing that. The EMS in Easton, EMS seeking more people to live in town and then also work for EMS there. There was a live-in EMT that was arrested, as you see in the subhead there, but that has not negated the program's value still for EMS. And then finally, we have a missionary visiting Easton on his way to a post in Peru, on her way to a post in Peru. So interesting stories there coming out of Easton.
All right, taking a look at the Weston Forum. Local swimmer David Gelfland, he refuses to sink. Despite a disability, he was actually born with a rare congenital birth defect, which affects the development of his femur, and as a result, he has a shortened thigh bone, but that hasn't stopped him from being a very successful swimmer. Now, also, a big storm recently in town, Weston was hit hard a couple weeks ago, has triggered some issues about Code Red and whether that system should have been used. We also have the school superintendent and administrators getting a 2.25% raise, so much more on that in the Weston Forum this week.
And in Stratford, Melvin Mason, their editor of the Star, covering extensively a lot of the political drama in Stratford. It's unending. A third budget veto from Mayor John Harkins. He has rejected the town council approved budget for a third time this year. Also, the Republicans and Democrats have both named their slate of candidates. Laura Hoydick getting the nod to run for the Republicans to replace Harkins. The Democrats have not named a candidate. There are 3 likely candidates that are going to be running in a September primary, so stay tuned there in Stratford.
All right, taking a look at the Reading pilot. Reading candidates endorsed Tuesday at the town caucuses there, so you can get a look at those Democrat and Republican slates. Also, a Georgetown church merging with a Longridge church, so kind of forming a new community there. And a Reading church group repairs homes in Appalachia. And a Reading artist reflects on her career and friendship with Marianne Guitar. So more on that in the Reading pilot this week.
Looking at the New Canaan Advertiser, current First Selectman Rob Malazzi has announced that he will not be seeking to primary Kevin Moynihan. Moynihan got the endorsement of the New Canaan Republican Party by a 10-vote margin at their caucus earlier on in the week. Malazzi will not be seeking a primary, despite the fact that he is the incumbent. Also, we have a pop-up park in the south side of town there. So that's another interesting, kind of a fun story to balance out the political stuff in New Canaan.
All right, take a look at the Trumbull Times, Don, your paper, and of course, big news is candidates nominated by their parties. Now, Vicky Tesoro accepted the Democratic nomination to run for First Selectman, and Board of Education member Paul Lavoie is the unanimous choice of the town GOP to run for First Selectman. So that's going to be an interesting race to follow for sure, now that it's open with First Selectman Tim Herbst focusing on his gubernatorial bid. Also, Ragtime opens this week at TYA's show, so definitely check that out. And suspects charged in a gunpoint carjack attempt at Twin Brooks Park.
And finally, for me, I have the Ridgefield Press. We have the Republicans and Democrats once again naming their slate of candidates for the 2017 municipal elections. Full slates by both parties in town. Also, agricultural retail along Route 7. The commission, that is being looked at there. We got that great photo of the inflatable slide there. And we also have a possibility of a B&B in town, a Circle Drive couple hoping to open a bed and breakfast. Of course, any kind of businesses like that in neighborhoods always go through a lengthy review process, but the wheels are in motion, possibly a new place to stay in town.
All right, well, taking a look at the Monroe Courier. Monroe Republicans announcing their slate. Also no incumbent there for First Selectman, as Steve Vavrick has announced he will not seek re-election, but Republicans have nominated Ken Kellogg. Now, a story we just brought you, and that's that Monroe has an American Ninja Warrior competitor living in town. Very cool story there. And actor shining despite some gathering clouds, and a new probate law announced in the area. So. And we also have arts and leisure, Don. Yeah,
and a great story that we discussed it on Yankee Fisherman. A lobsterman lost at sea, and a miraculous rescue. Essentially, he fell off the boat while his fellow crew members were asleep. He was kind of manning the wheel, lost his footing, fell off the boat. The boat sailed away from him because it was on autopilot. He managed to cling to a navigational buoy until he was rescued. A phenomenal story there called A Speck in the Sea. And we also have conscious cook Robin Glowa giving us lots of tips, zillions of tips for the versatile zucchini in this week's Arts and Leisure section.
And now I do want to mention our July 2017 education section is out in all our papers this week. Some really great information. It's still summer, but definitely worth reading some of these stories, including researching some local private school options and a lot more in that special section. Now, before we wrap things up, we are still following this crash on Route 8. We're just before 11:30 right now, and Route 8 northbound between exit 11 and 12 is closed. We're still seeing some serious backup. This is a photo from our own John Kovach, who is in that traffic right now. Now, he says people are driving up the median to 8 South to get out of this traffic. Now, state police also shared a scene of that accident. There's a serious injury involved, and the fire department extricated one person from a vehicle, and that person has since been transported to the hospital. So as of right now, we're still seeing some major traffic backup there, so be on the lookout for that. We'll keep you updated on Twitter at HAN Network CT. Of course, Yankee Fisherman coming up at 1 o'clock today, Nutmeg Sports at 2, and we will see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11. And Don, thanks for joining me.
Hey, anytime, Kate.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.